You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is a place we're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Taylor, didn't we just do this yesterday?
I think so.
Okay. I might as well
Maybe.
have a little cot and a hot plate out back because it's
Yeah.
spending all my time here. That's okay.
Not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. So anyway, today we have Cindy Shelton Nolan, the wife of Andy Nolan, who is running for Precinct 3 Justice of the Peace. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's it like to be the wife of a police officer, what kind of special pressures it brings, I guess, or situations. Also, we're going to talk about, the campaign and whatnot and how they got roped into this deal. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Somewhat.
Well, there was some conversation.
Yes.
I'd like to go over that conversation because, if I went to my wife and said, hey, I want to run for office, she says, well, I hope your next wife is very supportive. So when I left high school, BHS, somebody said, yeah, run for school board. And I said, maybe. And I go tell, I didn't even get the sentence out of my mouth. And Robin said, nope. Not happening. So anyway, we can talk about that and all sorts of things. It's just been lots of fun. But let's go ahead and run through the first round of ads. And there we go. CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Daniel Baisden. Hope you're doing well. Things are going well. If you need to work out, if you need to get fit, not throw a fit, go to CrossFit. You like that?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Works.
Now, you're a physical therapist, right?
Yes.
So you know all about CrossFit type training then,
Yes.
I'd imagine.
Yes.
And it's not just, throwing a couple weights around. It's a very rigorous program.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be. And so this is the place to do it if you want to get that kind of workout.
I support it 100%.
Do you? Well, good. There
I've
you go.
not done it personally, but
I
get it.
But
yeah.
your patients probably have.
Yeah.
Okay. CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Shandy Stogsdill, the Stogsdill Realty Group. Did you know homes are getting expensive in the Burleson area?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you want to move into this area, you better get a hold of her pretty quick because it's getting to be, it's getting tougher and tougher. Now, I know that we both live down the street from a new housing development. It's going to be a real impacting feature of our lives in a sense
Yes.
with traffic. Yeah. So we both live on the same street and we're about a mile from a major housing development that's going up on Renfro.
Right.
And it's kind of related to the bond package that the mayor's been pushing. And speaking of which, he'll be on the show in a couple weeks from Monday again to talk about it. Anyway, I digress.
That's
Shandy,
okay. Roads are important.
Yeah, well, and Shandy,
Traffic.
she comes on the show about once a quarter, and she's really well prepared. I really enjoy having her on the show because it isn't just, anecdotes. She comes in with her homework done. Well, both Daniel and Shandy are former students of mine.
Okay.
So, Shandy was a very diligent student. Daniel had lots of personality.
Is that all I can say?
Yeah. Anyway, and thank you to Rex Russell. I just talked to him or texted with him today. He's doing well, and I hope to have him on the show pretty soon. He's oops, I got the sound wrong. Anyway, he has lots going on. Oh, by the way, Andy's watching the show as we speak.
Oh, that's sweet. Hey, babe.
Yeah, hey, babe. Is that you? Yeah, okay. So the romance, you're still on the honeymoon, are you? Okay, good
Absolutely.
for you. Good for you. That's funny. Anyway, I hit the wrong button again. I'm really not doing well this morning. Try that button. There we go. Anyway, myfinancialbox.com. I'll get back on to you, Rex. The Russell Wealth Group, myfinancialbox.com. Hit the link, get to know him, have a little coffee with him, help you with your 401ks and other retirement plans or other savings ideas you have in mind, and he can help you with all of those things, so jump on board with that. Also, thank you to Southern Gem. Now, has Andy taken you to this place, the jewelry store up in?
Not yet, but I know where it is.
Yes, it's becoming well-known very quickly, and I tell Gayla Moore's the owner, it pays to advertise, but we go to church together, and we're in a networking group together, and her business is really taken off, and it's a good thing because she's very sweet and has great inventory. If you need something designed or cleaned or fixed or whatever, she can do that as well. So, and they're preparing to move in the same. Well, they're going to be in the same building.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just getting more space.
Okay.
They need more space than what they got.
I know exactly where they are.
Yeah, well, the important thing, does Andy know where they are?
He does.
You know what they do? They have wish lists. So if you drop by there and put something on the list, and then Andy can go and pick off that list.
That's probably smart because I'm pretty picky.
All right. Well, obviously.
I don't want many things. I just one thing that's really nice. Yeah. I'm pretty simple in that respect.
Oh, good. And then we have HotWorks. This is infrared workout systems over on 714. You know about this probably as well, being a physical therapist.
I have not tried that yet.
Well,
but I just have not had time.
Well, I would imagine you're pretty busy. It's on over by the Kroger's and the theater and all that. And I went over there a couple weeks ago, a little sponsor care, if you will, just to check in with Michelle. And they have all sorts of programs.
Have you tried it? Yeah, so there's many different things.
Oh, yeah. It's Pilates and yoga and rowing and biking and all this other business. It's not just one type of workout. You can do all sorts of different workouts with the infrared system and really maximize the whole process. But anyway, let's talk from the beginning. How long y'all been married?
25 years, last October.
Really? Just how did y'all meet?
That's a funny story. I don't know if Andy told it last time. But
No, I was going to save these questions for you.
Oh, thanks.
So you can get your version in.
Back in the day, you would meet socially by going out, and we were dancing. We went dancing one night, and basically my friend tapped on his shoulder. I had a wing woman.
Oh, you go.
Yes. So we were standing in the place where guys would come to ask you to dance. This was back when Garth Brooks was popular, country and western. Enjoyed it. She tapped on his shoulder. He turned around. I actually asked him to dance. So
There you go.
yeah.
Back in the social media is going to change that, but I still think the old-fashioned ways of meeting people work best. But I do know people that it worked for them, but I think meeting them at the church, at school, at work,
grocery store, wherever, friends of a friend.
Friends of a friend, I think there's something to be said for that still.
Yeah.
So was he a police officer then?
No, he was actually a jailer at the time at Dallas County.
Right. I remember him talking about that on the show.
I used to work at Parkland, and we dated for a couple of years before we got married. But I think that was when he was a jailer, and then the Fort Worth opportunity came open, and he tested and did well, and that kind of just, as I met him, I knew exactly what I was getting into early on.
So when he told you he was going to be a full-time police officer, there had to be some sort of concerns.
Yes. I was young, but when you're young, you don't think that negatively. It was more of an exciting thing, an adventure. It was something he wanted to do. It was kind of his path, I think, at the time. Definitely knew I didn't want him to be a jailer forever. So I know he had big aspirations. So that was a good opportunity. Didn't really cross my mind as an issue or worry at that moment.
Yeah. Andy says, hi. Y'all. So you can see it up there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If my eyes aren't quite as good, but I get to hear on the phone here.
That was nice.
Yeah. But I've known police officers and their families, and I know it's something you'll dwell on, but it has to be somewhere in the back of your mind, the risks of the job.
Absolutely. I think early on we learned pretty quick not to spend too much time in police world. You can be into that and hang out and spend all your time with police people and tell stories. And we decided, and after we got married in church, had another group that we were with of people who were not in law enforcement, so we could kind of be normal every now and then.
Yeah.
But I think, and not to bring it down, but just there were, Andy had an officer that he had worked with, Hank Nava, he passed away.
That name is very familiar.
Yeah, he was killed in the line of duty.
Right.
I think it was 2006. And that was the first time that was when it was like, it hit me that, you stand to lose everything. And that's the only time I think that I worry is when things happen of that nature here at home.
It just kind of brings it up to the surface, I guess.
Right.
Well, I've had a couple other friends whose husbands are officers, and I asked them kind of the same question. When they walk out the door, what are you thinking? And they said, we try not to think about it.
Yeah, you don't.
We don't say this may be the last time or that kind of routine. They just say we're not going to think about that because it just you spend your whole life into a fret like that. Yeah, but now he's been an officer for quite some time, and he's still an active police officer, even if he also is an attorney. Now that must have been an interesting conversation as well.
That was where he was, like he says, a 30-year-old college student. He went back, and he spent that next decade just kept going. So
well, I teach at DBU, so
he was there.
Yeah, and I know their police had a police on that campus, Chris Havens.
Yeah,
who was familiar to a lot of Burleson people. Right. Who's also a former student. Ironically, he was not in high school. He took my class at Hill College back in the day. He was one of my first students, actually, and he's a very fine man. And so we run into each other occasionally there, on good terms. So we went to law school, and that must have been hard on the family too, because when I was younger, I'm going to graduate school, my wife had to take care of a lot of the house and the kid. We had our first son, or only son rather, first child during that time, and it was up to you to take care of the daughters, right?
That's what we did. We stayed busy, and they were, oh goodness, preschool and elementary school age for especially elementary school. We were so busy, you just made it work. There was, I think back then we got the Google Calendar was the first time where we could see each other, what we were doing. I worked 32 hours and then just did all the other stuff that you do. You just put your head down and you see the task and the goal at the end, and you just keep going forward.
How long did it take for him to get his degree?
It was a 10-year period where he went back, because he actually went to Tarrant County College to start, then DBU, and then after DBU, he's like, what's next? And then there was a period of LSAT and getting in and applying. Yeah. And then law school was 4 to 5 years from start to finish, because he did a part-time program.
Yes, and it just, to do that over that length of time, it's tough.
It's amazing, his work ethic, and
which will be a good thing to be promoting as JP, right?
Exactly.
As a candidate.
But he actually supported me first before we had children in 2000. I'm a PT, physical therapist, and our program was a bachelor's program when it first started.
Which program is this?
In physical therapy, I went to UT Southwestern, and back in 92, it was a bachelor's degree. Today, it's a doctorate degree. Yeah. So they decided to upgrade. I had to go back and get my master's. And he supported me because I was working, and he was working, but I would go to school on the weekends. So he actually kind of helped me finish first, and then he started. So
UT Southwestern is demanding, very demanding program. It's not easy to get in. You must have pretty good grades.
I was a nerd.
Okay. Where did you go to college?
I went to, like I said, we transferred in back then, and I went to North Texas first. Yeah, lived there, and then transferred into UT Southwestern.
Yeah, they didn't have that North Texas branch in Fort Worth yet, did they?
Right.
That'd have been convenient, wouldn't it?
It would have, but that's a funny story too, if you didn't know, because my daughter is going to be a physical therapist, and she was accepted to their program.
Oh, so good.
We just went to their orientation last weekend.
Now, your daughter, your oldest daughter graduated, you said, about 4 years ago?
No, Allie was out of A&M or Centennial,
Yeah, that's what I meant, high school, yes.
All of those kids are now graduating college,
Okay.
2018.
Okay, and now she just graduated A&M.
Yes.
And lots of tears, no doubt, because every Aggie ever met, it's like, no, I want to stay.
They do. They want it. She's still there. She's staying till the last minute possible.
Yes.
She goes to school in July.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the younger daughter, is she at there as well?
Yes, she's at A&M in May's business, and she's kind of deciding finance, accounting, marketing, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Well, accounting killed me in college.
I don't know. She's deciding right now.
I wanted to be a banker, and here I am. Teaching kids. And
this is kind of cool, though. I think it's pretty cool.
Doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
look at you.
Yeah, well, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't something like for years I said, I need to do this. Basically, when I retired from school teaching, and Robin said, you read all this stuff. You're always trying to talk about it with me, and I'm not interested. Maybe you ought to find a way to make it pay. And so I fell in. Taylor hooked me up, took me off the streets. Here we are. Yep. Over at the beautiful local Legends Lab. So, and it's worked out.
Off the streets.
Yeah, and
that's important.
Yeah, it's worked out pretty well. I have good sponsors, and when I say good sponsors, I mean supportive ones, but also civic oriented.
Right, I've noticed that about you. Yeah.
Yeah, really. I'm honored by their sponsorship because they do good things for the community.
Right.
But anyway, back to y'all. So he was an officer he is an officer still, and he could still be an officer as JP, right? He didn't have to retire from the force, does he?
I think that his plan is, I don't know exactly the law on that, but he would retire. He's 26 years in, and again, we were looking when he's looking at what he wants to do, how he wants to serve, keep going. This was really amazing opportunity and fit, I think, for him as JP.
Well, now how did that come about? Was this something that prior to this opportunity, I want to get into political office. I want to run races. I want to be in JP. Or was it like there was an opening coming up and some people said, hey, you'd make a real good fit for that?
I think it was, where we were informed that Honorable Pat Jacobs was going to retire. And, I was surprised because I didn't know it just came about. But I think he knew he had something to do after he retired from Fort Worth. We just weren't sure what. And it's one of those doors that opens and you have to decide you do want to go through it. And so here we are.
Well, but he could have been a full-time attorney instead.
True. Yeah. But, had he wanted to do that all along, I think he would have already done that. I think that in listening and knowing him and speaking with people who call him for advice is that he's got a helping heart and a counselor, and he's a strong leader. And I don't know that necessarily that may not be the right path in terms of practice. I know he dabbled a little bit in family law and found that wasn't the best fit, I think.
Oh, well, family law is probably, of all the different law disciplines, got to be one of the most emotionally nerve-wracking and destructive. I couldn't do family law because you're dealing with custody and divorce. And, and those rarely are going to be, settled on friendly terms. It's going to be always going to be very acrimonious. And so I don't doubt that he would pass on that, but well, I just, he had opportunities.
That's just the thing that I think as a police officer that comes before him most commonly in our life phase that we're at. Right. So, but this opportunity with JP, when we started to look into it deeper and thinking about his background, and he's been solving problems on the street for years. He knows people. He's a people person. Looking at the court and what comes before the court, it's like, well, wow, what a blessing that would be to also, you're there serving people in a way that you have your experience. People are not necessarily always in your court for the best reasons, and he can, help point people in the right direction as well.
So who was it that talked you into it? Was it just friends, or was it like
it was
Johnson
friends
County
and people in the county and the area that were saying, we know you, Andy, you would be a really good representative for our county.
Jerry Stringer, for those who don't familiar with who I'm talking about. Jerry Stringer's been there for quite some time. And I've known Jerry. He was our school resource officer.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
And got to know him quite well there. And he's a great man, a great American. So you'll have, now he is the county commissioner. Now, we're not talking about the same job, but did Jerry have a role in this?
I think he's come more into it just, oh, hey, by the way, you're doing this, here's what I know.
Well,
as someone who can offer advice. And as you know, many people become, I want to tell you this, I want to share this, you should do this, you should do that. So taking all that advice in and trying to quell through it.
Well, I'm sure Jerry's having to kind of be somewhat neutral between your opponent and Andy.
Well, and he's retired, so Mike White is our precinct 3 guy now. Yeah, so, but everybody, tries to do everything that's correct.
Yeah, I know. It's
the rules.
Well, because it's tough because you're choosing between decent people, and that makes it's tough. It makes it a tough choice. But as far as getting kind of talked into it, I guess he knew something about the job, being an officer and a lawyer. But I guess he's finding out there's more to it than just what you read in the textbook or in my history class or whatever.
Well, that and just the fact that it's an elected position, that's been the most interesting part of it all, honestly.
Right. Anyway, he's got another comment. It says, I hope he's talking to you, because he says, you look very pretty, dear. I assume he's talking to you. But
because it's not on there. He's probably, he's being sweet.
Yeah, it'll come up there pretty soon. There it is.
Thank you.
Well,
I guess, me blush.
Yeah, I guess he is talking to you. Oh, good.
He's very sweet.
Yeah, okay. You're a good father and husband and all that.
Absolutely.
So you hit the jackpot, did you?
Oh, definitely.
And that makes a lot of difference when you're talking about elected officials, because you need that kind of support system. You need that kind of...
Right.
That kind of grounding, I guess, that would take to be a family man. And because you probably, as a judge, which is essentially what you are, a judicial official, have to basically weigh in real life experiences and how they impact on people, not just strictly the letter of the law and that kind of thing.
I think I think the letter of the law would rule in these, in this court. I don't know enough about it. Not an attorney, but
we don't want to imply that he's going to just do his own thing.
Right.
But he's going to understand that when given latitude, he needs to factor in a lot of things.
Right.
And judges are given latitude.
That's true.
You know,
That's
they are given some discretion, and you need to have somebody that has wise use of that discretion.
Right.
I have no doubt that if I come in front of him with a traffic ticket, I'll be paying full freight. So I don't see any favors being done or anything like that. But so you get talked into this. It's a lot more than, okay, I'll sign this form and whatnot.
Yeah, you file some paperwork and get a treasurer. Yeah.
And then it's that to me would be the hardest part is, raising money. And as far as the donors, the people are interested in that. It's public record. I don't really want to get into all that because it's not worth it. But I would, as a candidate, have a hard time asking people for money.
Right.
Did y'all find that hard?
I don't think that we've asked. I think people have offered, and I think the hard part is accepting that support. But in the reality of it, it is very expensive to run.
It is.
Yeah.
About how much have y'all spent, do you think?
Oh, I would not say out loud, but it's a substantial amount.
More than you thought, maybe?
But we think, I do, but I think it's an investment in ourselves too, because a lot of it is fronted by us.
That's
the majority of the money is coming from us. Investment in ourselves.
Well, I guess so, but still, that's not a cheap investment.
No. Signs are money. There's inflation.
And then there's also, the girls in school and all that. And,
But we've been fiscally responsible through our life. I've always been a Dave Ramsey person.
Oh, okay.
And so, again, very... our home is almost paid for. So
I wish it had said that. My wife, when she hears these shows, she's like, because we refinanced a couple of times, helped our kids through school.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
That was how we helped with some of Andy's too, with the excellent interest rates. How could you not? We rolled it into that.
Yeah, I know. We've done it a couple of times. In fact, Shandy can help you with that, by the way.
That's right. That is a good way to do things.
Yeah, so, but it is... That was the hardest part for me. That would be very hard for me to go to somebody and say, "Hey, I'm running for office. Can you slide me a couple $100 or whatever?" And if I had the money to do it all by myself, I would. That's exactly how I do it because I just don't feel good about doing that.
Right. Well, and my biggest prayer in the runoff was why are we facing this runoff when we know the financial, the emotional, the physical toll? So that's always my prayer. Good Lord, take my hand and walk me through this because I don't understand.
Well, at the other side of the commercial break, I'm going to ask you about those stresses and what it takes about running and any encounters that you wish you could have done without, and also some encounters that have been very pleasant, and how people have responded to this campaign.
Right.
It's, I guess there's some sort of difference in the positions between a justice of the peace and say the mayor or a state senator or whatever else.
Lots of differences.
Because Andy, I'm sure has opinions on foreign policy and all this, but as far as is it really relevant to being a JP is a little different than if you're a lawmaker in Austin or something like that.
Exactly.
So anyway, Taylor's a run through the second round, if you will. And also, I was going to mention a couple things at the end. Also, our place, I bet you've been there before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody goes to our place. When I have a networking group, and when we do meetings, I say, let's go meet at our place. And they're looking at me like, what? No, the restaurant across the street, our place. Oh, that place. Yeah. Everybody knows where our place is. And I was just there yesterday and, they're just good people. And, Otto takes care of the community very well.
Yeah, there's a big difference in your service there. It's awesome.
Well, the one thing he'll tell you is that he has longevity in his serving staff. They're not just coming and going. They're a fairly stable group because the way they're treated.
It definitely shows.
Yeah, and there you go. Also, are you a cigar smoker?
No, but Andy on occasion will.
Well,
I know we have been here. It's really cool.
You've been to Wild? Okay.
Really cool.
Another former student, Chris Notaboom, just texted with him this morning, yes. And it's a nice place, right?
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as smoky as one would think. I mean,
right. I'm still figuring that part out because I need to go again and experience it in different times and how busy it is.
The last time I went was before noon with my son-in-law. I went to the humidor because my son-in-law likes cigars. And, it was around like 11:30 or so. And there were some people in there. But what I like about it was it's quiet.
Yes.
And you don't have, it's not just shout. It's like a, sports bar or
It's
something.
not the loud atmosphere. It's more like a lounge. For
Yeah,
sure.
and that's exactly what he was going for. And
Yeah.
so if you're looking for a place for that kind of activity, Wild Cigar is the best place to do it. And also, another former student, Antonio Basalo, Proactive Payment Solutions. I had him on the show last Saturday. And it's a very interesting story. And so I hope out there in the vast listening audience to give it a chance to.
I did listen to that story. It was good.
Yeah. And that's what we hope to see happen with.
It's a good perspective.
Yeah, with his people in his situation. They come and make something of themselves. And his sister serves in the military, so I mean, I think they're doing their bit, so to speak. But anyway, they Proactive Payment Solutions. It's point of sales operations, and they can help you streamline your operations, help you with the right rates, the right programs. There's a lot of different programs out there, so we can help you set up with the best one. And Tiffany Griffin, Local Life Magazine. She'll be on pretty soon. We had a scheduling conflict Tuesday, but we're trying to work out one for either next week or the week after. But locallifetx.com is up. You can check out the specials, the ads, the discounts, whatnot. And also the magazine is out. And it's in 30,000 homes and over 110,000 people see it. So if you're looking to advertise in this area, North Johnson County area, this is the place to do it. Also, Taylor, you got that other one for my friend? Did I send you that one? Ah, yes. Some of you old timers won't remember Paula Peckham. Paula Peckham was a former math teacher and a colleague of mine at BHS. Now she's retired and now she's an author. And so this book had just came out earlier this week and it's on Amazon. So if you like these kind of novels, check it out because, it's Paula is a really interesting character because, you think being a math teacher should be so analytical or whatever, but she really has an artistic side to her. So if you're looking for this type of literature and you're looking for something to read and you want to support your old teacher or friend, Paula, check out Amazon. It just came out about 4 days ago, I believe. So yeah, it's kind of neat. It really is. It's nice to us old retired teachers just don't sit around. We find things
They're
to do.
pretty busy.
Yeah, but I tell you what, as much as I loved those high school kids, being retired is a lot less stressful. Yeah, teaching adjunct classes and doing this,
That's a good balance.
It's like I think I could do this a little longer. But anyway, back to y'all. So you started this campaign,
Right.
And I see all the signs. I first met Andy when he was working in the neighborhood,
Right.
and putting up all those signs. And I guess you have to help him with that.
Yes.
And it's a lot of signs because I see them a lot of places. People don't realize just how large Precinct 3 is. I guess
Now you know. I do now. I know now.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven like south of Alvarado or
We go to Venus.
Venus, yeah. I saw one in
all
Venus
there.
the other day, and it's like and you can't just be Burleson centric. You have to hit the whole thing, right?
We have more to do today.
Well, so outside of Burleson, where do y'all campaign? I mean, do you have events going on like in Alvarado?
Yeah, Alvarado, quite a few.
Yeah. Well, who do you talk to?
In Alvarado, a lot of the Chamber of Commerce events. We try to frequent some of the restaurants in there and attend a lot of the. It's mostly the city council. I mean the Chamber of Commerce events there, like Massey's Barbecue.
Oh,
or,
yeah, it's well known.
Yeah, Route. What is it? Route 69. There's a new
Or 67.
67.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's 67.
Right.
That one. We are still kind of going back and forth because it's huge. The whole area is huge. We spend more of our time now in neighborhoods like Patriot Estates and our precinct. There's a far end of Mansfield that's just exploded
Right.
with new houses. And every time you have the new voter rolls, there's a whole new layer of voters and people to contact. And it's all one-on-one. That's the goal.
So you don't contact them through social media very much?
We use social media quite a bit.
Okay,
for Andy's
there you
page,
go.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're still door to door and face to face and again, it's the justice of the peace. It kind of makes sense. You are
Right.
in that lowest court.
Do most people treat you decently?
Yes, the majority.
There's
There's only a few sad days Andy's had, coming home just feeling, because people just, if you catch them on the wrong day or it's a no soliciting sign on the door and you can't read it till you get to the door and their dog barks. They're mad because you made their dog bark. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most people at least have been cordial.
Everybody is very kind. And we figured, you learn pretty quick what to approach, what not to approach.
Well, I would imagine in a race like this, there's not a lot of tension even between candidacies.
No,
because
no,
it's,
absolutely not.
Because it's, again, it's a job serving the people as opposed to, making public policy all the time.
Exactly, yeah.
But I would say that must be very tiring.
Right.
To go and knock on doors and day after day. I mean,
it's basically a job interview of several thousand people, and you're just putting yourself forward and saying, here's why, Andy is the best candidate for the job.
What kind of questions do they ask you?
A lot of them ask mostly some people, are you a Republican? They want to know what your affiliation is. And you can say yes, but it's like, so is the other candidate. So let's go deeper, that kind of thing. A lot of people don't know what the Justice of the Peace does. So we've actually spent a lot of time in the runoff just making that clear, like, what does a Justice of the Peace really do?
They think of it as probably, dealing with traffic tickets and small ordinance violations.
Right. Some people think it's another sheriff in town. And then weddings, that's the classic.
Yeah, but they can do weddings.
Yes, they do weddings.
You think he'll ever do a wedding?
Oh, I'm sure he would love to do that.
No,
someday.
it would. Yeah. I wonder, if it's being, not a church wedding, but how much latitude Andy would be able to slip in some spiritual content.
I'm sure it's just, I would have to research that and look into it. That's pretty cool, though.
Well, I just hope they allow him a little bit of latitude for that, particularly if the couple wants it. But
exactly.
But so they think, a lot of people think JP is like county commissioner or a constable or city council member. Just a different spot that is, creating policy. Andy's job is to enforce it,
understand it,
and even if he doesn't like it, that's really not the question here,
exactly.
Is it? Yeah. So if he doesn't have that kind of latitude just to say I'm not going to do it, I'm sure there's going to be occasions when he wins that he's going to be reluctant, and having to enforce certain laws, but that's the law,
right? And I think that's the benefit of being an attorney as well. Is his law school, that education, we would have conversations about. When he was in different case law, the classwork, and it's amazing to see the different sides of everything. And he has looked at both sides, which is, some people will say, if you're law enforcement, you're only on one side. It's like, no, Andy actually sees both sides in terms of being fair. And I think that's very important.
And where would his office be?
It's Alvarado.
Right.
There's a sub-courthouse there.
I've done my early voting there.
Yeah.
And so, but normally, most people think of Jeff Monk.
Yeah.
He's precinct 2, right?
Right. And this is a big county. It's, there's 4. So I had no idea, actually, when looking into it. I was like, oh, that's how that works. But different courts do different things. They share a different workload, so I've learned that too.
Precinct 3 have a unique law enforcement area?
I think in the past I heard it was truants. They heard more of those cases. But again, all that, it's just a basic of how the courts work together, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I know they changed the law since I've been in school, but for quite some time, truancy was a misdemeanor.
Right.
And I think they took the criminal penalty away, and honestly, that wasn't really in our best interest because
you would know, best.
Yeah, well, particularly since BHS was directly across the street.
Yeah.
From precinct 2, the kids got to know Jeff Monk pretty well, and with that long beard and long hair he does for the Passion plays. Why is Jesus yelling at me? So, but it's anyway, because he'd really given the business about missing school, and I had, and they'd put the ankle monitors on him and stuff, and like, what are you doing with an ankle monitor? Well, it was truant,
Yeah.
So it was kind of an interesting experience with the law, but that's where most of them are handled now, or at least they kind of siphon them over there.
I think and COVID changed everything as well. So I know they're back to being open, but things may have shifted there as well. But I'm not as familiar.
And does he have regular hours, so to speak?
In terms of
he's like at 8 to 5. Here's when the court's open, and this.
I'm assuming yes. Yeah, okay. That's we're. Again, up to that particular judge can determine that. So,
he could set his own hours.
I'm assuming, yes.
Well,
there's business hours, obviously, and so I think the biggest thing is just having it available to people so they can access it when they need it.
Have your daughters been involved in this?
A little bit, yeah. But school has been very busy. They're physically in College Station, so I think. At their age too, we've just kind of allowed them to also, they're developing their identities and we support them. They're very busy kids.
Well, from what you described, they're very successful.
Yeah, they're independent. Their faith is very strong. They're very busy with. They have Bible study groups in their churches. That
Even
they're
at
in
A&M, at Bible study?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're good kids.
I'm a
right?
Baylor guy, so
Yeah.
I got to gig them, so
You
so
have
to speak.
to. Well, we drive through Waco all the time.
Yeah, and get out as quickly as possible. I got you. All right.
No. It's a good town.
Yeah, I liked it, but a lot of
Yeah.
people I know said, Waco, my Lord, no. But my son went to A&M.
Well, my
graduate
best
school.
friends, my two best friends are Baylor grads. So,
Oh, there
yeah,
you go.
so
Yeah.
I give them love.
Well, we went to College Station when my son was there. We go there, oh gosh, once every 4 or 5 weeks. And it's a lot different. When I was a Baylor student, I had friends from high school, and I had a couple of relatives at A&M. And it's only about 60 miles, 70 miles. So we'd drive to
Right.
College Station. And then when we were taking my son down there back in, gosh, I'll get my dates, 17, I was amazed just how big, not just the school had gotten, but the whole town around it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so, but it's worked out well for him.
I'm enjoying visiting.
Yeah, but now your daughter, one's graduated, and the other one's going to be, what, junior next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, and every graduate I've ever met, well, at A&M, they're former students, they're not alumni.
Right.
Everyone I've ever met that went there, they had to tearfully drag them away from College Station. Oh, I want another year, please.
I know.
You know?
And Allie did it in 3.5, but she stayed the whole 4. So,
Yeah.
well, we had a lease, so she has
Yeah.
a job. She has a job down there. She's
yeah.
working.
Oh, yeah. You had a lease. Well,
She's
come on.
staying down there, enjoying every minute.
I bet she is. You know, living in the college town without not having to go to college. But anyway, back to y'all. So you had the election early March, and now this is May 24th.
Right.
Do you think that's too long a period?
I do, but I think like I said, that schedule is set by the court. I mean, by the state. So it was already in place for the runoff.
I know, but it just to me, it's like you have the race in early March. You should just have the runoff maybe like a month later,
Exactly.
or 3 weeks later. I mean, what's the point in stretching out another 3 months? It's just more expense, more drain on the candidates and their families.
It's beyond me. And like I said, here's Easter. Easter's kind of a line in the sand that says, okay, after Easter, we're at that month point. So it's game on.
Well, you'd like to have these things settled probably before Easter. Of course, Easter comes when it comes,
Yeah.
so you never know. But I just always thought, why is it so long? Now,
That's a good question.
Now, I don't want to say when. Let's say when Andy wins, he doesn't face a Democrat opponent.
No one filed as a candidate. So November would just be Andy's name on the ballot, and you move on to.
Well, let's hope he wins that one.
I sure do.
You at least have 2 votes.
We would hope.
No,
would
well,
hope.
no, he'll have 4 votes. Robin and I will.
There you
certainly
go.
vote.
Thanks.
Yeah. But not having many Democrat opponents does probably make that a little easier because,
Right.
because if that's just more expense and time.
Yeah,
and,
that would be
you know,
another thing. I think one of Judge Shaw has one, so that stretches. He did not have a Republican primary opponent, but he does have one that filed for the.
Well, this is a fairly Republican county, I've noticed. So
Yes, it is. It
I
is.
think we, only more Republican one I could think of, maybe Hood County, where they drop Democrats behind walls and then hunt them down. But
No.
it's kind of the old joke. But here, it's pretty red, and so, but as far as I've seen, and I don't, y'all may know better now, but as far as I've seen, it has not been a very tense or acrimonious race.
No, not at all.
And that's a good thing. We
Right.
don't need any of that.
Right. I think the reason we're in a runoff is we had 3 candidates, and the requirement is 50% of the
Right.
vote. And 49.99.
Yeah.
There was, a few votes, and so here we are, and that was probably the lower point of this process, is just feeling that, going, okay, we're gonna have to keep going. Which all along we knew we had 3 candidates. So it's
But it was that close. I did remember seeing
was
the
very
percentage.
close.
It's like about another maybe 50 votes would have done it, right?
it was 6.
6.
5 and a 6. It was that close. Yeah, it was. That part is painful, but
So 6 more votes to come across.
we would not be sitting here.
You will be talking to the JP elect, I guess.
Correct.
When would he assume his term?
I'm assuming January.
January
unless,
1st?
Yeah, and unless anything changed.
Uh,
I don't think.
Pat Jacobs is retiring, right? And she's been here
Correct.
forever.
Yes, I
And-
think 28 years, which is amazing.
I
Just amazing.
I had a younger school classmate when I was in high school. 2 years behind me in class, who ran for JP in Collin County. He was 18.
I think I heard this story. Yeah, that's so wild.
Yeah,
And he's still there, right?
Well, as of about 5 years ago, I haven't checked up on him, but he's still there. You heard the story, good for you. But I just thought, man, that's nuts. And to be there. But at 18 to be a JP, because really the requirements of being a JP is you're a citizen, you don't have any outstanding felonies or record.
Correct.
And 18 years old. And you have to live in the district you represent, right?
Right.
So you can't move now.
And then undergo mandatory training, et cetera, to get you going.
Yeah, but that's the state did that. The Constitution is very brief about JPs.
Right.
And so, but most of the JPs that I've encountered and know about, they have some background in law enforcement or legal backgrounds. Because, if you have some guy that did not, that would be kind of a hard detriment against them in a campaign. I'm getting a little bit hoarse here. So.
That's okay.
Well, it's the dust in the air and all this mountain cedar and the pollen and all that.
Oh, the pollen. Everything's green.
Yeah, it's tough down here, guys. But anyway, so when you do these campaigns and you do these public appearances, have y'all had not debates, I guess is not the right word, but
forums.
Forums,
yeah. Candidate forums.
Okay.
And we'll have maybe another one in Keene coming up possibly in May. But we've done several. And those
where do you do them here in Burleson?
In Burleson, we've had them through Republican groups for the most part. Republican Women, Lone Star, I believe, Patriots. They're just present all the candidates because there's other things going on. We have a county judge runoff happening as well.
Yeah, I have him on Tuesday. Chris Buttigieg.
Right. So
I don't even know his opponent, I'm afraid, and no slight on him. I just don't know who it is.
And it's a Harmon, and that is kind of our issue is name recognition.
Oh, that's
he's John,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no relation there, right?
No, none whatsoever. Zero. It's in name.
Wow.
It's fascinating, and that's the fascinating thing about this whole process.
Yeah.
It's just what voters are like.
Well, they had on the Texas governor's primary, Rick Perry.
The Rick Perry, right?
Yeah, and okay, well, and that may have been a coincidence, but I do know of stories of candidates changing their name to very closely resemble more famous politicians, just to confuse people or whatever.
I know, and what a great character trait that is.
Yeah. Well, my favorite story is about 18 years ago in the California governor's primary, one of them legally changed their name to none of the above. And so if they didn't like any of these guys, you check none of the above, you were actually voting for a real person.
And see what happens.
Yeah. And so this is the election that Arnold Schwarzenegger won. But if it's just funny if you have a runoff between Big Arn and none of the above, But anyway, you just get weird stuff like that in these campaigns. And Johnson County and this area, they can put out there some weird campaigns occasionally.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is, and but you're not really involved that much in the local political scene. This is something that you're doing as a service, not because of any kind of political ambition. Right?
No, absolutely. This is JP. It came up. This is a wonderful fit for Andy and his experience. And I believe in him a lot. But
obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I just know in my heart this is what we need to do. But no other aspirations beyond that.
Well, I suspect he'll win. All right. I don't have anything negative to say about your opponent, but I don't know him, but he's probably fine.
Yes. Nice gentleman.
Yeah. But I just think he'll win. I think Andy has worked hard for it.
Right.
And I know he's certain you've worked hard for it. He certainly put out the signs and whatnot.
Yeah, it's you know what? I've enjoyed it. It's been.
Would you do it again?
I will do it again when we have to in 4 years.
It's a 4-year term.
Yes, it's a 4-year.
Okay, I thought it was 3 years for some reason.
I will do it again. Yeah.
4 years, and not anytime sooner.
Absolutely, I would not wish the runoff. I've learned a lot. I have a lot of respect for people who run for office, especially city council, school board, because I think a lot of that, it's very grassroots, people who want to do good. And when you get in it, you realize, wow, this is a lot more than I bargained for.
Oh, yeah. I had the mayor on 2 weeks ago, and I asked him what he'd learned, and he just starts laughing because he's like, I learned a lot of things I didn't know I'd need to learn.
Yeah.
And so.
It's trial by fire. And Andy is so gracious, and his heart is so big. It's hard for him to put himself out there like that. Just vulnerable at times. He's a strong man, but he's got feelings,
Well,
and
yeah, and it must be tough to have those feelings and also be a enforcer of the law.
Right.
Because you have to put those feelings aside. And,
Exactly.
and to me, that is a qualification for office, that's a feature of the office.
Right.
You want somebody that has feelings but knows what the law is.
Exactly.
And
he can uphold. Yeah. He's a very strong person, strong personality, but like I said, he's still very fair-minded. He's definitely.
Well, I'm going to run through that real quick again, and then
Yes.
I'm going to let you have the last word. Tell us everything you want us to know about Andy and his campaign and whatever else you'd like for us to know. Okay. Thank you, Daniel, CrossFit Burleson. Hope you're doing well. Hope you and Amber and the kids are doing well. 317 Southwest Wilshire. So go over there and start your workout regimen. They have trainers, they have programs. So there you go. Thank you, Shandy. I know you have homes to show, and hopefully you got a couple closing pretty soon. Hope you and Ronald and the kids are doing well. So if you're looking to move in this area, she's the one to talk to. She's very, very knowledgeable about this area. Also, Rex, he's also knowledgeable about 401ks. He's also quite the character. We went to college together. And he calls himself the mayor of Egan. So he's a political figure too.
Okay.
That's not a real figure, all right? That's not a real office.
Sounds good though.
Yes, well, we kid him about being head of the police state of Egan, but anyway. Russell Wealth Group, myfinancialbox.com. Hit the link, and there you go. Also to Gail at Southern Gym. You need to take him out there.
I will check it out.
Yeah, check it out. And we are, like I said, Gail and I are in a networking group, and the ladies of the group have used her, and they just love her, because she does such good work and has such good value for her inventory.
For what she does.
Yeah, Southern Gym on the top of the Windmiller Building. Check that out. Also, Hotworks, another place you can go and get a different type of workout with the infrared. It has the Pilates, it has the rowing, it has a pretty good selection for you to choose from, and so you can tailor it to your needs. So check out Hotworks over on 714. Also, our place, everybody knows our place, Highway in Alsbury. Been there since 1986. I was there yesterday. I'm still full. And so,
It's that good.
Yeah, it's that good.
It is.
It takes care of business. All right, so thank you, Otto, for all your generosity. Also, thank you to Chris at the cigar bar. It's been about 2 weeks, 3 weeks since I've been dropped by. I need to drop by again. I mean,
We do too.
I do like it's not just for sponsor care. I like the place, so I need to drop by. It's been about 3 weeks.
And that area is really cool.
It is, and it's growing.
I really like what they've done with it.
And like I said, Chris is he's a very well-read, articulate young man. So if you ever get a chance to visit with him, he's very bright, and so I think you would enjoy that. Also, Proactive Payment Solutions. Again, I told you about Antonio's story from last Saturday, so I hope you check it out. I think it puts a lot of this immigration business in perspective.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's a very complex issue. Let's put it that way. And so I think it's a good thing. But I'm really proud of the fact he started his
own business. Yeah.
Well, this is the second one. He had another business, and he said, "I want to do something else."
Okay.
He said, "I just want to do something else," and he got into this, and he started it from ground zero. So he started his own business, and Proactive Payment Solutions, his point of sales operations can help you with your streamlining your businesses and whatnot. Also, Local Life TX is on the Google, on the interwebs, as we old people call it. And also it should have already gotten it. It's been out. It's in 30,000 homes, a lot of businesses. You can go to a lot of places and you'll see 3-4 copies of it on the coffee table or their counter or something like that. So there you go. And also remind you of Paula Peckham's book. It's on Amazon. There's a couple, I think it's interesting that Paula wrote this book because, like I said, being a math teacher is, and then she goes into, these type of novels. It shows a real creative balance, I think. So check it out, guys. A couple other things coming up. Tomorrow we got the farmer's market, which is always great. Do y'all do any campaigning there?
We walk through, go in and get coffee and walk around.
Isn't that a great
people.
place?
Yes.
Chaz Forster does such a good job with that. And he was on the show about 3 weeks ago, and we had all these exciting plans, and it's a really good thing. And also we have an ASD fundraiser on April 29th. It's coming up, this 80s type prom, if you want to sponsor that or donate
We're
to that.
We're considering that. It's right around the corner from us,
Yeah, you ought to. Yeah. I've had them on the show a couple of times.
Right.
And they do really good work. And that's the thing about Burleson's. We have a lot of groups like this.
Oh, yeah.
That do good group. Last week we had Meatmeisters on. You ever heard of them? And we bought a ham, and so tomorrow we're going to get one. It's going to be for Easter Sunday.
Yum.
Yeah, I don't know if they have any spares, but you can always check out their webpage and see what's going on. But we have a lot of stuff like this going on, and this is a good community.
Right. Well, the Center for ASD, I think that's amazing what they're doing.
It is.
Yeah. As a physical therapist, I like to have that resource. It's just invaluable. I want to support that.
There's another young lady who's been on the show 2 or 3 times, Jessica Reams with Fitability
Yeah,
Kids.
Fitability. I just contacted her because I was like, oh my gosh, there's a gym. And that, like I said.
Well, I'm going to have her on pretty soon.
Yeah.
I had her on right prior to her Christmas fundraiser.
I'm very proactive on therapy outside of the medical model. It's very limiting where we're at. Yeah.
She is a very engaging, bright young lady. I think you'll enjoy that meeting.
Yeah.
So I need to have her on again in May. So I like to plan my shows out, not way out in advance, but at least 3
You
weeks,
never know, yeah.
4 weeks, because that way I can promote them.
That's right.
All righty. Anyway, but tell us everything you want us to know.
Oh,
You get the last word.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm very thankful to be here, of course.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
You're more than just a neighbor.
Right.
Anyway, speaking of neighbors, Andy, absolutely. The biggest thing we need to get is get our voters back, the people that support him, basically. Early voting's May 16th through 20th, and May 24th is Election Day. And the biggest thing to know is if you live in Precinct 3, do you know you live in Precinct 3? And
Yeah.
That's pretty much, it's the railroad tracks near Fuzzies all the way back towards Mansfield, moving to the east. To the south, it's 67. To the north, we're kind of just north of where Rio Mambo is going east. So it's a big square. And if you live there, you're going to see a lot of signs, and think about that. Follow Andy on his page, Elect Andy. Elect Andy Nolan for JP. And then where do you vote? During early voting, it's going to be the Burleson Sub-Courthouse or the Precinct 3 Maintenance Facility, which is on 917. So that whole...
Oh, really? It's not going to be at Alvarado?
There's 2 places to vote. That's right, because it's a runoff election. It's a little different. So that week, the 16th through the 20th, 7 a to 7 p.m., please go to the Burleson Sub-Courthouse or the Precinct 3 Maintenance Facility, which is on 917. So if
They're trying to visualize where that is. I mean, I drive 917
not many
a
of
lot.
us go out that way, but a lot of people, Alvarado, Venus, Precinct just south of us, will go out there. The biggest thing you'll see out there, it's near Lillian.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there near Lillian.
Okay, I think I got an idea now, but I was thinking, is it near like the highway or something like that?
No, you're on 917. If you're coming on 917 going to the east, where I call it Happy Hill, where that curve is.
Right.
You keep going past that curve for about 3 or 4 more minutes, and boom, it's there on the right before you get to Dollar General.
Okay,
And
I know exactly where it is now. Okay, so that's convenient for us.
A lot of people too are commuting across 917. I'm like, just hit that barn on the way to work.
Yeah, that's not too far at all. Okay.
But a lot of people are going to go to Burleson Sub-Courthouse. Election Day is Cana Baptist Church and the Precinct 3 Maintenance Barn. So it's different. Cana Baptist Church.
Yeah, that's where you normally been voting.
Right.
Here, Nandy's put on the page here, Andrew Nolan for JP.com.
Yes.
All right.
You can get all that information. We have some help with our Facebook now to help our messages get out there.
Yes, I'm getting some help too.
You need help. I need help. It's complicated. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah. Oh, that looks good. Yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you, Taylor. That helps a lot. Yeah, that's our page, and there's all the voting dates and where to go on which day.
That's why he is the local legend. That's why Taylor gets the big money.
That's right. He deserves it.
All righty. Well, I appreciate you being here. I enjoyed talking with you all.
Thank you so much. You're so great to talk to. Super fun.
Please, I'm blushing.
No.
But anyway, thank you, Taylor, for everything. We'll have this
Always.
up, PDQ, on Apple, Spotify, etc. It's already on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did simultaneously post on Facebook and YouTube. And then,
have your new platform or whatever you call it. Yeah,
Thrive.
you're trying out Thrive. Yeah, okay,
yeah.
cool.
So it's a work in progress for me to learn it. It's a good program. I endorse it. I just need to
figure it out better.
All righty, Taylor, I'll see you Monday, and I'll see the rest of y'all Monday, hopefully.
Yeah, wave in the neighborhood.
Bye-bye.